Welcome to Showing Up Solo, your go-to source for solopreneur success in the digital world. You're not just running a business, you're wearing all the hats, from CEO to content creator. What if I told you there's a way to master online marketing without sacrificing all your time? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Showing Up Solo. I am joined again by the amazing Victoria Taylor. For those of you who haven't watched the previous episode that Victoria was on, go do that. But otherwise, just for the sake of the newbies, Victoria, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So hi everyone, I'm Victoria Taylor. I'm a digital and content marketing consultant. I specialize with helping startups and entrepreneurs in tech and SaaS with improving their content.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for coming in today. We are talking business-to-business marketing strategies for entrepreneurs. I'm assuming most of your clients are business-to-business then?
Some of my clients are business-to-business, but most are B2B. And so that's a really, I've actually found myself in that space and I've just settled in there. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, you, behind the scenes, when we were before we started recording, you had a really great little catchphrase. So I'm going to hand it right off to you to start.
So one of the tips that I would give people when it comes to B2B strategies, B2B does not stand for boring to boring. You do not have to create boring content because at the end of the day, the business that you're trying to reach out to, it has people who are going to be interested in the content that you're sharing or interested in the marketing strategies that you're sharing. So at the end of the day, you're marketing to people, not just a business.
I love that. I said I loved it at the time. Yeah. I still love it. It's so true. And I have seen so many times, I've had clients who are just such fun, happy people. Like they've got such a great sense of humor behind the scenes. And then they start to write their copy and it's like snoozeville. And it's this misconception that professionalism means being super formal or being like boring, basically.
Very stoic.
Yeah, not having a sense of humor.
Not at all.
Yeah. So how should one show up in business-to-business marketing?
You should definitely show up in the way that your brand represents, which a lot of B2B companies don't really spend a lot of time crafting their brand positioning.
Mm-hmm.
So what is my brand voice? What are the things that my brand should be associated with? And if my brand was a person, how would this person talk? How would this person dress? How would this person go about talking about this business to other people? And if you imagine somebody who is stuffed to the gills with a tie and is just wearing glasses like, our business sells 5.5 million, then you need to work on your brand positioning. And it doesn't mean that you need to be super casual or tongue-in-cheek. I would say imagine the person that you would want to work with. Right? Who is the ideal person your clients would be like, I enjoy working with this guy or this woman, and this is the person. That's a really good place to start. Don't just be, you're a professional and you are this. Really go deep into it because that voice is going to come out in your content and should come out in your content.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point is remembering the person behind the business, basically. Because businesses don't buy products or services. Someone within the business makes that decision.
Exactly.
And when you're building your ideal client avatar, when you're crafting this imaginary person that you're talking to, you're going to be talking to a real person within that organization. Is it the person from HR? Mm-hmm. Is it the person from IT? Is it the CEO? Is it the CFO? Like, who is this individual person? Like, you might work with businesses within a certain industry, but who's that individual person? Is it the head of a marketing team who needs to outsource content creation? Like, who is that individual that you're speaking to, and what are their problems? What are the day-to-day things that are getting in the way that you're coming in to solve?
One good example is if you have somebody who's in sales, whether it's one person or a team, how do they talk to your clients to close deals?
Yeah.
Because that's the voice you should be using with your content. And they're not coming with, they're professional, but they're also warm and engaging and educational, and they're trying to connect. And that's the same thing that you need to do. And that is what's missing in a lot of B2B strategies, is that you're missing all the fun in connecting with your audience because you're trying to be too professional.
Yes, absolutely. And values forward marketing is really important. It's it's always been important, but it's really important. It's become like a real trending topic for businesses to focus on. And part of that values-driven marketing is authenticity. It's showing up and saying what you believe in, what you don't believe in, what you agree with and what you don't agree, what you support, what
or
you
even
don't
problem-led too.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a company where talking about how good your product is just doesn't work.
No.
There are more products in your industry that can probably do the same thing, even if you are better. And so talking about the pain point that you want to solve is also a really good place to start, right?
Yeah.
Zapier does a really good job of that, right? They're like, hey, this is what you, if you're ready to create more, better automation, or tired of figuring out automation for yourself, try XYZ. Like, it's always like, what's the pain point that this person is having? Here's a quick solution. Here's something that you can test. That's a really good B2B strategy.
I think, don't they have, I could be making this up. This could just be the way I explain it to other people, but I'm sure they have something in their marketing, Zapier.
Yeah.
It's like, we help one software talk to another.
Yes, they do.
Like, that's what they do. That's their...
And they have different landing pages based on what the ICP, the ideal customer persona that they're reaching out to, or the client avatar that they're reaching out to, and they'll adjust that pain point to that, right?
Yeah. Because that's the thing, because if you're looking for someone who's not tech savvy, but is going to be a Zapier customer, like, the thing they're Googling is going to be, how do I make Squarespace talk to Flowdesk?
Right. How do I let Salesforce talk to MailChimp, XYZ? And that's it. Again, being putting the problem or the pain point and how you're going to help them with the solution. Simply just talking about how good you are isn't enough. Yeah. What solution are you offering them? What are you relieving for them? What are you making easier for them? And ads that have that kind of focus do very well, as opposed to, we are the best this, or this is what this can do. Show me the problem that you're going to solve. Because people in business, they have a limited amount of time, a limited amount of energy, and they're just looking for, how do I solve this problem?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm now showing the fact that I have small children here, because there's Bluey. For those of you with small kids, you probably watched Bluey, but there's it's a mom and dad.
I don't watch Bluey, but I see it on TikTok, so I've seen Bluey.
So anyway, they have this one where the dad brings out this puppet called Unicourse, and Unicourse's catchphrases, and why should I care? And whenever you talk about whenever anyone talks about problem folks, that's what rings in my head is Unicourse going, and why should I care?
Absolutely. I actually learned that from head of sales of a company. She said, every time you write a piece of copy, say, so what?
Yeah.
So what?
What's got to do with me?
Exactly. Why does it matter?
Yeah. Okay, so you make the best tasting cup of tea. Why do I care?
So what?
If your product is the best accounting software available, why do I care?
Exactly.
How's it gonna make a difference in my life?
Exactly. I like that. That's a really good idea.
Yeah. So that's the key is what's in it for me? And I think that is a big thing. A lot of people treat business to business marketing and business to client marketing as completely different kettles of fish, like completely separate things. But yes, you're talking about different things. Yeah. But the way you're still talking. It's not one to many. Or many to many, or many to. It's one to one. It's one to one. Yeah. Conversation is still a one-to-one conversation.
Yeah.
It's just the things you're talking about are going to be different.
Exactly. And you have to be way more focused on the problem, because businesses want to invest in a tool that's going to consistently solve problems, not add them.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so let's just do like a thought experiment with an ideal client. So if I was like doing a business to customer marketing strategy, I would probably talk about, let's give her the name Susan, and I talk about her family life and her home life and the stresses and things, and how whatever I'm offering will impact that. Mm-hmm. But if I'm talking about a company, I might still be talking to Susan, who's head of office services, and I'd be talking more about like Susan's day at work. Like, Susan gets in and finds she's got 1 million emails, and someone's called in sick, and now there's a whole bunch of urgent packages to go out, and one of the lawyers in let's assume she works in a law firm, needs a whole bunch of binders made, and so like talk about all the problems that she's having in her day before I jump into, and so that's what you want, our admin system or,
Yeah,
you know, like,
take one less thing off your plate. I think QuickBooks also has this commercial that's going out where there's a sticky note monster following a small business owner. And the sticky note monster is like, file your taxes, remember to fill this out, remember to buy supplies. And then the ad starts with quick notes, finishes taxes, grabs a sticky note, crushes it up. It's one less thing off your list.
see,
That's the focus, that's the message, and that's what people want when they're looking for a software.
yeah, because rather than the messaging being, hey, QuickBooks does X, Y, and Z, it tells you, no, I'm solving this stress for you. I'm solving this.
So much so, it's easy to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we've talked a lot about like how to engage and like how you should sound and who you should be talking to. Do you have any specific strategies that you find work really well for business to business marketing?
Definitely. One thing that I've seen growing, and it's getting so much, it's getting better, it's getting bigger, is thought leadership. Now, I know what some people are thinking. Thought leadership is just another word for influencer. You're not wrong. It's just a more B2B way to say influencer, but it's more about how can you add value to your community and how do you become the expert in that field. And it may feel intimidating and it may look intimidating, but it is extremely important.
Hey there, fellow dreamers and future solopreneurs. Are you at the very beginning of your journey, eager to kickstart your business and find those first clients? I've got something special just for you. My free guide, Find Your First Clients. 3 actionable steps to jumpstart your business. Inside, I've distilled the wisdom of successful solopreneurs into 3 actionable steps tailored for newcomers like you. Expect straightforward, no-nonsense advice that you can put into action today. Ready to turn your business dreams into reality? Grab your free copy now at showingupsolo.com/free. Unlock the secrets to landing your very first clients and start your entrepreneurial journey on the right foot. I'm here to guide you every step of the way.
So I was talking to a founder this week, and he was, he's never worked a day in his life. He has started his business straight out of college, created 2 successful software companies.
When you say never worked, you mean never worked for someone else.
For someone else, yeah, that's what I said.
Because he sounds like he's been working really hard.
No, he's been working really hard. He's never worked for someone else. He's always been a founder, always had that startup mentality. And he's been completely bootstrapped. No funding, no outsource investor, just completely bootstrapped. And so he's actually about 3 businesses. Sorry.
Already sounds super interesting.
Right. And he's also an introverted person. And when we're talking about, hey, you need to start working on thought leadership, posting a little bit more on LinkedIn, he's like, I don't think I have anything interesting to share. I don't think I'm an interesting person. Can I just talk about like the company products? And that's also a common misconception, is that if you work for a company and you're just sharing your company, you're just doing the same thing as a social media page for your company.
Yeah.
As a thought leader, you should differentiate by sharing something that's educational, that's personal. And personal doesn't mean that you have to share all your deep, darkest secrets, but you do have to humanize your content so people connect to you. And I had to tell him, you're not a billboard, you're a person. And people invest in the person. And if they're invested in you, they're invested in your company, they're invested in your product. And there's such a big payoff of trust that comes with being a thought leader in a B2B space. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's almost like having a part-time job.
Yeah.
But the payoff is absolutely incredible. If you're in marketing, you know Larry Kim. He started OmniSend. Now he has so many other. He's a thought leader when it comes to email marketing. Rank Fish. He started Moz, and now he's moved on to so many things. And I can list so many others, but they all started as thought leaders. They all found something that was their niche, and they built a B2B business. I also met with Tom Winter. He is now one of the co-founders for SEO Wind. And he pushes his brand, but he also humanizes himself. He gives value, and then his product comes second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing you said about LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has actually made it a little easier to dip your toes into thought leadership with collaborative articles. Yeah. Have you tried those yet?
I have tried collaborative articles. LinkedIn is also, LinkedIn is such a strange place.
I know.
But they also have features, right? They show you how to complete your profile, how you can use your profile as a landing page for people to experience your company and your business. the way that you can have more different methods of posting. You have audio now, video. They're doing technically TikTok now. So there's so many different platforms and methods apart from just writing a post.
Well, see, and then they've got things like, so they've got the collaborative articles, which is one thing. They also have the newsletters now, which is another. But like just talking about the collaborative articles, for example, what's really nice about that is it's AI generated content, and then they invite users to come in and contribute their expertise to it. So in terms of like what it takes to do it, it's not that difficult. You go onto one of these articles, you find like a topic that you're like, okay, I think I can talk about this. And you just add a comment to like one of the points in it. And if you do this often enough, you get this little like top voice.
Back. Well, now they say that your comment has to be liked too.
Oh, yeah. What's probably back in the days, it was just, in the early days, it was easy. It's, of course, now more people are using it. But if you're contributing valuable information and other people are responding to it, then you get this little badge that says,
it's really good,
I'm a top
voice.
Top voice, exactly. So it's like a really, it's a great dip your toes in. Okay, I don't feel like I don't feel ready to write a whole article about this, but I can add my 2 cents here and do that often enough, make that part of like, just like once a week, I'm going to go in and I'm going to go interact with a couple of these articles, drop my 2 cents in there, and then you're like, it's a nice way to sort of get started, get the ball rolling.
Yeah. One thing I would advise against is try to stay away from having AI generated responses.
Oh, yeah.
Comments and contributions and anything that you do, because being a thought leader is so much more, like it's more intense on LinkedIn. And I say intense to say that it's a proactive space that you can easily become one, but because you can easily become one over time and effort, there's a lot of other people trying to do the same thing. So they'll take shortcuts with AI generated responses. And so when you do it from your authentic tone of voice, of course, make sure to check your grandma, you're able to differentiate yourself in that space.
Yes, I like using AI as like a shortcut for repurposing content, but the source material should ideally be your own. But for comments and like contributing to articles, definitely your own voice. If you're sharing someone else's post, if you've seen a post that's really insightful and you decide to repost it, add your own authentic contribution. It doesn't have to be,
an epistle.
No, exactly.
It can just be short, sweet, to the point.
Exactly. But it's like, this is my perspective, because that's what thought leadership is. It's your perspective on it. It's literally thought leadership.
It's thought leadership. And I think it's also a good thing that even if you don't think like, okay, would people be interested in this? Should I talk about this as a thought leader? When you're starting out, it's the best place because it's time for you to test out different ideas. What ideas do you like talking about the most? You see yourself talking long term. What do you like to share about yourself, not share about yourself? Test everything out. It's like throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing, okay, this actually sticks. How can I scale this up?
Yeah. So we've talked about how you could use LinkedIn for business marketing.
It could be a whole topic.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh, yes. I've already got several episodes about LinkedIn. Love LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is usually the one people think about when they're thinking about business to business marketing. What about the other social media platforms? What do you think? Do you think they're just business to consumer, or like how do you put it?
They're definitely B2B. It's just that LinkedIn is already a professional platform, and they do have good B2B ads, ad managers, and etc. But the thing is, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, other people use that. Other founders use that, and they use it when they're not at work.
Yes. So your strategy there is you're trying to get to the person. You want to be the one that they're thinking, oh yeah, mental note, look them up when they get back into work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're talking to the HR person or the salesperson, the manager who's at home scrolling through, and you're there. So it's good to cover your bases across those social media platforms. I would personally say pick 2 to 3 strong platforms to really root yourself in. That's a really good method. Don't try to spread yourself too thin.
Yeah.
And if you're just starting out, 1 to 2 is just as good. The most important thing is that you get conversions from those ads.
My advice usually when it comes to picking a platform, and I think this applies because again, we're talking people to people.
Yeah.
is pick the platform they use when they're on the toilet.
That's a good one.
We all take our, come on, we all take our phones to the bathroom with us. Whatever app they open when they're on the loo, that's the one you want to be on. Because that's the moment that you've got their attention.
So true.
So that's usually my rule of thumb when it comes to picking a platform. And then what about email marketing? What do you think for email marketing? Because, it makes it when you're a retail store, you're bombarding your clients with promotions and offers. But business to business, what do you think there? And I have my opinions, obviously, but
so I'm a firm believer that email is not dead. It will never be dead. The only time it will be dead is if Gmail decides that it's going to discontinue.
Yeah.
Right? But I've worked with people who are founders, who are business owners, and they probably use email, check their email more than they do their social media platforms, because they'll sign up for certain newsletters or things to get this is a new trend, this is what's happening. I've worked with founders where they'll send me an email they're talking about this, should we talk about this? So it's definitely a place that you need to have. It doesn't matter if you're a solopreneur, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter if you're a founder. Having email in your strategy is very important, and your list can grow with you as you go along. And it's a one-to-one platform.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. Especially if you're, for example, you're a solo business owner, or your ideal client is also a solo or small business owner, and they, because what I like to do when I encounter a new person, whether it's someone who I might want to work with in the future or someone who I want to keep on my radar, one of the quickest and easiest ways to do that is to sign up for their email list, to get their lead bank or whatever, but get on their email list. And then they pop up in my inbox regularly if they're sending content. But I may delete every single email until that day when I'm I need someone who does this. I'm going to go to that person who's in my inbox.
Yeah.
Because that's my kind of way of saving it.
Yeah.
So even if you're not getting the open rates, just by showing up consistently, you're reminding them that you exist.
Yeah.
You're reminding them that you're there, and when they do need you, you're easy to find.
Yes. And on the flip end, what I would say, if you're a business owner, sign up for other B2B companies that inspire you, that you like. See their emails, and what I do is I save the emails that I really like, so that I can probably replicate or test out something with my own version to see how well that will do.
Yeah,
I have a good emails folder.
Do you have a bad emails folder?
I should, but I don't.
Because there are some really cringy ones, and you're like, ugh. I really want to start doing that with some contents and stuff. Most of the time, it happens to me when I'm watching an ad on YouTube, and I'm like,
this is terrible. There's actually, I know that there's a thought leader who does that, where he just shares really bad emails.
I think that's that, just knowing what you don't want to do, And I also think for a lot of entrepreneurs, for a lot of solopreneurs particularly, especially if most of the time your product or your service originated from an idea based on a problem you had.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you think about what you back then wanted, that's the basis, the foundation of your strategy. Where were you looking for help? Where were you looking for support? What kind of things did you want to hear at the time? Mm-hmm. That's where you kind of find that messaging.
True. And even talk to your customers. See, why did they choose you? What was the problem that you were able to fix? What attracted you? And you can use that language, that exact language, or modifying it in your ads, in your content. Because if they have that problem, there's a high chance that another customer, especially if it's a high-paying customer, like an enterprise size, or a customer who got the biggest package or wants to work with you the longest, their way of explaining what your product solved is perfect for ads, perfect for connecting with other people, because they probably have the same problem.
This ties in really well to the other episode you were a guest on, Victoria, which was all about social proof. So I would highly recommend watching that, because you're right. That's where you get the best copy for your marketing and ad campaigns. It feels like the moral, the conclusion that we've kind of come to is business to business or business to consumer. It doesn't really matter. It's more person to person.
Person to person.
All your marketing should be person to person.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
Yeah.
Really.
And even if you, which is one of my a phrase that I dislike as a marketer, as a person is, if you're marketing to everyone,
you're marketing to no one.
Marketing to no one. Even if you have a large group of people that you're marketing towards, you should still have personalized messages to those ICPs. Even if you have 10 different ICPs, they all can't have the same message or the same marketing strategy. You have to be willing to pivot, customize, and personalize so that you get all of those people in the different way that they deserve to be met.
Yeah, I love that. The other thing I'll add to that as well is being specific. You are going to have more success in a room with 10 people who are all your ideal clients than you are in a room with 10,000 people who are a mix.
100%.
It's much easier to get heard in that room with 10 people. Exactly. So it's okay to be super specific about those people. So, before we wrap this up, do you have any, final thoughts or...
Sure. I would say if you are a B2B, if you're in the B2B marketing, find the balance between storytelling, user experience, SEO, and product marketing. There's a very horrible way to do it, and there's a good way to do it. And having someone who understands those 4 pillars and putting them into really good copy, whether it's short or long, is going to help to bring your business to the level that it needs to be when it comes to content.
Couldn't agree more. And I would say, again, my add to that would be just remember, you're not talking to robots. You're not talking to big corporate entities. You're talking to a person. So make it personable, and be yourself in that, if you're representing a larger brand, and there's make sure that brand has a persona that you can represent. But yeah, just remember it's a one-to-one combo.
Yeah, be human. Talking to an office building, you're talking to the person in the building.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining me again, Victoria. For those who didn't see the last episode you were on, please let them know how they can find you and get in touch.
Oh yeah, so if you want to get in touch with me, I'm mainly active on LinkedIn, Victoria Lana Taylor, and also on Instagram, Victoria Knows Marketing. And you can also, learn a little bit about me on my website, victoriataylormarketing.com. And yeah, mostly those are my active places. If you have any questions, just reach out and let me know. Happy to help.
Wonderful. We'll leave links in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Showing Up Solo. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a review or sharing your thoughts in the comments. These simple gestures help us appease the algorithm gods and continue to bring you great, free education. Ready to navigate the world of marketing with confidence? Take the Marketing Compass quiz, available at showingupsolo.com, to discover the next phase of your journey. And don't forget to explore our range of courses and coaching programs while you're there. Let's transform your solo venture into a thriving success story together. Until the next episode, keep showing up and making your mark in the world of solopreneurship. See you soon.